When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. Is there aught we hold in common with the greedy parasite, who would lash us into serfdom and would crush us with his might? Is there anything left to us but to organize and fight? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving midst the wonders we have made, but the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. All the world that's owned by idle drones is ours and ours alone. We have laid the wide foundations, built it skyward stone by stone. It is ours not to slave in, but to master and to own, while the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they never toiled to earn, but without our brain and muscle not a single wheel can turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Hello, everyone. How we doing, stowaway? Hello, Shabriri's Woe. Hello, Nightlight Plushie Jesus. I am indeed up late. Hello, Irish Witch Hazel. Hello, Tea Leaf. Hello, Comrade Girl 2018. Hello, Death Died Today. Hello, Josephine Light. Hello, Sloan Garcia. Hello, Ginger. Hello, Firecrafted Gaming. Hello, Zach Fletcher. Hello, Salty Turtle Cupcake. Hello, Punky Gal. Hello, Lovely Pariah. Hello, what? Hello, Jess Talks Books. Hello, Spitfire. Hello, Olsen Exy. Hello, Punky Gal. Hello, Pluvius. Hello, Salmon Moose. Hello, Gamer G. Hello, Matitiahu. Hello, Metal Kitty Mom. Hello, one and all. How are y'all doing today, folks? Hi. Hi. How are y'all doing? Ooh, baby. Now, today, I'm going to be honest. I have a conflicting desire for mayhem and chillness. And so I decided that it's going to be one of those rare RimWorld stream days where I play the video game RimWorld. And if you drop five subs, you can name a character after yourself if you feel so inclined. And while we do that, we're also going to be reacting to one of 4 different long-form vids because it's been a while since we've done that. Yo, you uploaded the first trailer for your game? Linky, please. Give me the link. Let's all watch it together. Unless you don't want that and you are not comfortable with it. Nightlight Plushie Jesus, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. You are number 1 on the list to get a RimWorld character. Let's go! How we doing, Pirate Amir? There it is. Delve Trailer 1. Also, what a great name. Delve Trailer 1. Oh, what a cute little guy. Oh, he's a mole. Oh, that's adorable. I love him. Where did the diamonds come from? Did they come from the boulder? Ah, from the boulder hitting the butterflies? Hell yeah. Delve, motherfucker. Oh, that's really satisfying. Thank you for adding that part to the end. I really liked seeing that. Thank you. Hell yeah. Ooh. Chill RimWorld plus long form pain. Yep, that's the idea. Anyone here organizing with Indivisible or going to Indivisible events? Yup. Guarantee it. What's RimWorld? It is a fun little like colony sim on an alien world, and they just had a big expansion, so I'm going to be seeing a lot of stuff I haven't seen before. It's a big year for whole games. You got it, Josephine Light. Hello, Bastion. Hello, Velvet. Hello, Ethereal. Also, y'all are gonna be choosing what your the form of your destruction tonight, okay? /vote what content. We have a Mehdi, Hassan, or we have Tucker, Carlson, or Patrick, Bet David, but probably not any of the sections or episodes you might be thinking of. We're doing a bit of a deeper dive on Patrick, Bet David. Or what if alt pissed? All right. You guys are going to be putting in your votes over on riverboat.gg. And if there's a tie, we're going to kick it over to YouTube. All right, here you go. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Actually, wait. Should I should invalidate the results. I should give you guys trailers of each section. Okay. Now I'm invalidating the results. The election is canceled. I'm gonna give you guys a preview of each. Okay. So to start with, here is the Mehdi Hassan bit.
No one forced Israel to drop 2,000-pound bombs on crowded refugee places. No one forced Israel to bomb hospitals. No one forced Israel to sniper shoot children.
Hamas don't want a state. They want there not to be a Jewish state.
Which
and
soldier?
I know they have been.
Which soldier was
prosecuted
for dropping a grenade on a child?
There are dozens
You're lying
of them
on national TV.
Piers
Morgan can come back on the next episode and tell everyone that you're not telling the truth.
Okay, that's enough of a preview for that one. So that is Mehdi Hassan debating Alan Dershowitz on all of that. For Tucker Carlson, it's his Turning Point USA speech. I've been meaning to cover this for a bit, but it is lengthy.
And rather than answer it, you didn't pay me the respect that you would a human being. You treated me like a slave or an animal by telling me to stop barking. Shut up, racist. And I won't put up with that because I'm not a slave or an animal. I'm an American citizen, an adult man who pays his taxes. So, you know, I ask people questions for a living, and very often I get answers that I don't care for, that I disagree with, that I think are stupid, but at least they're answers.
Yeah. Dude gave a speech, and a lot of people on the left, including people like Cenk Uygur, are like, is this guy our ally? And like, no, he's fucking not. So we need to talk about this. Also, of course, Mithril. Hey, Mithril's grandson, Jace, happy birthday! Happy 2 years of being alive. That's so great. Congratulations. And I hope you have a really, really happy birthday. Unk fell off. Yeah, Unk did not do so good when it came to just not buying conservative bullshit hook, line, and sinker. All right, let's take a look at our other path. This is I can't believe I totally missed this. But here's the Patrick Bet David offering, where he brought on Terrence Howard about 3 months ago. If you know anything about who Terrence Howard is and what he's been doing lately,
So after I'm done here today, I'm going to put online the equations necessary to have unlimited energy, just to say you to the world.
Interesting. Okay, so can we get Dr. Yu out here, Rob, if you don't mind?
Yes.
You guys have never met.
Never met.
And you're currently working for NASA.
That's correct.
I don't have the degrees he has, and guess what he doesn't have? He doesn't have an understanding of how the universe works.
You don't think Eric Weinstein
he has no understanding.
Entire quantum mechanics built on this model.
He might have all of his fancy book learning and work at NASA, but he doesn't understand how the universe works. Oh god. All right. Anyway, that's your Patrick Bet David option. And finally, of course, it wouldn't be complete without What If Alt Hist rounding out the 4th level option. Turtle Chum, thank you for the tier 2 sub. I very, very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. Of course, it's What If Alt History explaining native Mexican civilization. You know, this guy's just really good at it. How about we let him paint a picture for us?
Let me paint a scene for you. We're in the Mayan Yucatec heartland in the 10th century AD. For centuries, the Maya had thrived at the center of their known world, creating civilizations with millions of people in enormous cities, and from archaeology we've found they practically denuded the Yucatan of trees. When I drove across the Yucatan today, the only thing I could see was an infinite line of trees, more so than even Canada. The Yucatan had possibly double the population 1,000 years ago than it does today. Their entire region was filled with proud city-states, much like the ancient Greeks, which all had their own identities while being stuck in rife war. Their ancestors had built enormous temple complexes to honor the gods, but as time passed, the world that allowed that to happen seemed more and more distant. The world was ending. The entire region was embroiled in intensely bloody wars, more so than before, in which the conquerors would frequently genocide an entire city, practically salting the soil after destroying.
Well, I don't know if you can call, like, killing everyone in a city a genocide. Like, a war crime? A massacre? But, like, there's a difference between doing that and, like, wiping out everyone of a specific ethnic group. Like, I don't know if, like, let me put it this way. I feel like this guy would not be calling, say, dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima a genocide. I don't think he would call it that. But, you know, who knows? Rudyard's mind works in mysterious ways.
Yet. The region was experiencing the worst drought in as long as anyone knew, and barely any rain has fallen for decades. People are starving and their currency, which is literally chocolate, can't buy anything. The nobility built their right to rule by consulting with the gods, most primarily to bring rain to a climate in which it was scarce. The sacrifices have been growing larger as the government became more desperate. The Maya, whenever times became desperate, would ceremonially cut the blood out of their testicles and burn it with paper as an offering. The sacrifices accomplished nothing as the rain stopped coming. The peasants had stopped cooperating with the nobility, looking for any excuse to stop gaming in a system in which they knew the priest class didn't actually have the favor of the gods. The wisest priests already knew their civilization was doomed. This wasn't the first time this had happened before, in that their civilization had already risen and fallen multiple times beforehand.
So that's, getting Mayan civilization explained to us poorly. Let's go. So those are the options. Sounds like a Valley boy. I think he's from, like, Pennsylvania or something. Hello, Alan Smith. So now I'm going to resubmit your options now that you've seen a little preview of each one. Okay. Vote what content? Medi. Wait. Medi or PBD or Tucker or what if? All right, here you go. New poll. Got 15 seconds to get all your answers in, folks. Ah, you guys have changed. See, I knew you guys might change your tune if you knew what you were in for with that Patrick Bet-David segment. Who's voting for Patrick Bet-David? It's his. He has Terrence Howard on it, Paladin. He has Terrence Howard on to talk about the equation for limitless energy. Awesome. Okay. Also, RimWorld. I'm gonna launch RimWorld for a second. I don't want to watch PBD. I don't even know what that is. Well, you gonna learn today. That's what you gonna learn today. All right, here we go.
They're hyper
Wait. There we go. They stole my patents. Like a angry Doc Brown, but for spirit science.
So after I'm done here today, I'm going to put online the equations necessary to have unlimited energy, just to say you to the world.
Interesting. Okay, so can we get Dr. Yu out here, Rob, if you don't mind?
Yes.
You guys have never met.
Never mind.
And you're currently working for NASA.
That's correct.
I don't have the degrees he has, and guess what he doesn't have? He doesn't have an understanding of how the universe works.
You don't think Eric
Oh,
Weinstein
he
has
has no understanding.
Entire quantum mechanics
Oh no, he's right, but for the wrong reasons.
built on this model.
Is wrong.
Or he's bring another dimension. Okay.
If another country gets their hands on this,
It's an end of America.
what have you found?
If I have to go to China, they won't hesitate a moment to use
Rim me
lynchpin.
mommy. Wait. RimWorld me mommy DILDOG.
Dildog. Salmon Moose, you are next in line to be a character in RimWorld.
Which they're forcing me to do. Do you know that they took away my passport?
How could
Why
they
does this
do
matter?
Puffy invited me.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh.
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast.
If it's wrong, you'll never hear from me again. I'll walk away. But if I'm right,
Wait, who the fuck is this other guy? Terrence Howard. He's an actor who believes he's discovered the secret to eternal energy. And the other guy is a scientist at NASA. Whose ideas will come out the other end? Let's find out.
So for most of us, when we think about Terrence Howard, we think about an actor. We think about Iron Man. We think about different movies he's been in, right, all over the place. But one day in 2019, when he retires, he talks about he has some findings. He has certain patents. He has 90-plus patents. Goes on Rogan's podcast, talks about it openly. Then Rogan brings Weinstein. Eric, they have a great debate together. And it was interesting saying, I need peer review. And Eric says, you're not a peer to review what you have. And then Terrence and I start speaking. And he says, I want you to put my white papers through any kind of AI to look at it and have some folks look at it. So I said,
Yeah, put it through any AI. Don't get it peer reviewed or anything. Just put it through an AI.
Terrence, why don't we do this? I'm going to invite a guest. He didn't know who it was going to be. We invited a current NASA employee, 17 years with NASA, Dr. Yu, physicist, spacecraft subsystem manager, spacecraft fluids and structure branch. He comes in, they sit down, they go through things, and I thought he was going to correct them on everything, but he actually agreed with them on a few different things. And then we also talked about his career.
God.
We talked about Iron Man. He said something on Diddy I've never heard him say before. Never. I've never heard him say before. And he says, I've never done movies like this, and the reason why you never give up your man card. I'm like, Terrence, what do you mean man card? He said, you know what I'm talking about? I said, are you saying what I think you're talking about? Yes. Then he tells a story of the time Diddy invites him over to his house. And it got so weird that, well, you're going to have to watch it for yourself. Having said that, enjoy this podcast with the one and only Terrence Howard with an appearance by Dr. Yu.
30 seconds. Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so
Jesus.
NASA for 17 years. His business card says physicist,
Yeah,
and
strap in,
spacecraft
folks.
subsystem manager, spacecraft fluids and structure branch. In a minute, we're going to have him come in. He's been involved in a lot of different conversations. He knows Eric Weinstein. He's seen the conversation that you had with Eric Weinstein and with Rogan, which was great, the 4-hour one that you guys did. So we'll get into that here in a minute, okay? And I'll bring him on, and he'll grab a seat right next to him. We'll get into it. However, for the audience, if you don't mind, because the first time I heard about you going this direction, I'm a big fan of your work. When you came in, the first thing I said is the character, Harvey, what is it, Borden, from fighting, right? The way you would speak, the way you would move. But this is the first time we saw you talking about you leaving Hollywood, Rob. If you want to play this clip, go for it.
Terrence Howard here. You made huge headlines when you said after you complete these 15 episodes of Empire, you got to walk away for a while or forever.
For good. I mean, everyone keeps trying to tell me don't say it's forever, but I've spent 37 years pretending to be people so that people can pretend to watch and enjoy what I'm doing when I've made some discoveries in my own personal life with the science that, you know, Pythagoras was searching for. I was able to open up the flower.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's all coming back to me. This is the guy who wrote the paper about how 1 × 1 is 2. And, like, he was trying to talk about how, like, he had broken the code and, like, unlocked a new level of mathematics because we've been doing multiplication wrong for thousands of years. Let's go, boys.
Power of life problem.
I don't know why I said it like that. I apologize.
And find the real wave conjugations that we've been looking for 10,000 years. Why would I continue, you know, walking on water for tips when I...
So...
Oh wait, I want to read the intro because there are new intros here in RimWorld. That's what I'm playing in the smaller screen here. The gods were very angry. The blood machines came at night. They swept through your village, cutting and burning your people with their blades and devil fire. Only a few of you escaped. Now, after a harrowing journey with no friends to turn to, you must build a new home in the wilderness, like your ancestors did. And this time, when the blood machines come, we will be ready. All right.
What got you to the point of being ready to say this to the world? Because this changed the game.
Well, we had introduced linchpin years before and was talking about linchpin being the common factor, the universal constitution, but no one would take it seriously. We talked about this grand unifying supersymmetry of the linchpin, that it showed how the universe behaved in contractive or expansive places. We had showed the ubiquitous nature of linchpin. Nobody would take it seriously. So then we decided to let's now challenge the idea of gravity. And we, in comparison to a resonance model, like the universe is not based upon force, but based upon resonance,
yes,
but
of
based
course.
upon harmonic frequencies. So we decided to let's put the linchpin in the proper place, and since we are saying that this is the common factor, that everything comes from it, let's put a number of linchpins in rotation and see if we can rebuild the planet Saturn. Well, we were able to.
Okay, we're just hitting the gas and zooming over the cliff, huh? Holy shit! Yeah, we rebuilt Saturn, everybody. We did it. Don't let your dreams be memes. Gamer G, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. I appreciate it. Your message got robbed. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do that without gravity, without dark energy, without dark matter. And without animation. Literally rebuild the planet Saturn in a simulation with the hexagon at the top of it. And we were like, okay, they will take this seriously. So when I went to we did this the day before I came to the Emmys. So I was just so excited to say, hey, we don't have to worry about this God gravity.
Live
You did
action.
what the day before Emmys?
We did the rebuilding the planet Saturn. That's at the very beginning of my book. The same thing I showed on Joe Rogan.
Right.
And I'm like waiting for people to respond, but they immediately took it like, oh, he's crazy. He's talking about he's going to build the planet Saturn. No, I was rebuilding it in a simulator, the same way they've rebuilt.
Oh, in a okay, he got access to a supercomputer and rebuilt Saturn. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Oh, yo, they added fishing to the game. Awesome. Cool.
planets or tried to rebuild the solar system or galaxies with dark matter, dark energy, and gravity. I was able to do it without that, and I thought that would mean something, but I forgot you don't attack somebody's God. Gravity has been their God for a long, long time.
Who's God? The traditional scientists?
Science, all of the world. It's gravity is their God.
If I'm on a set with you doing a movie, which you've been on many, many sets with some of the greatest actors of all
let's
time,
talk
and you're
about
in the
some
list of
movies,
some of
man.
the greatest actors of all time yourself, would I meet this Terrence? Like, if we're sitting, we're not shooting, we're sitting, we're waiting for something, are you speaking to me like this or no?
This is the only Terrence there is. You know, I love acting. I love the emotional play associated with it. But what's more important right now than saving the planet, than saving the people on the planet, saving the animals on the planet, saving our entire solar system? We don't know what our responsibility is cosmically, but we have to get past this reef right now. We keep getting pushed back to the beach by the desire to suppress and to control everything. So the only Terrence there is the one that's trying to change the world, that's trying to provide the free energy, that's trying to provide the new geometry that will allow us to fit with the universe instead of competing against the universe.
Which actors that you had conversations like this with were also interested and could hang with you?
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte.
The great Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. We've had wonderful conversations. We're doing a film called Investigating Sex in Germany, and we spent 2 months having the deepest conversation. He actually inspired me to keep going further. Before, he was just talking about the B12 shots and how it affects your body. But we had deep conversations.
Get rid of all that old geometry. Squares, that's literally that's for squares. Okay? You need to get some of that new geometry, all right? That new shit. It's way better. All right? When they were talking about rhombuses and, like, I don't know, nonagons, that's child's play. We have more advanced shapes than ever before. You fools, you simpletons.
Jeff Bridges is an incredibly deep thinker. I would love to talk to Mel Gibson, because I see his mind always jumping.
You haven't?
I haven't. Have never had the pleasure of meeting him.
You've never met?
I would love to meet Mel Gibson. Is maybe, more so than anything else he's said, is the biggest red flag. Like, everything else could be like, oh, he's just kind of like a well-meaning insane person, but like nah. You believe that, like, they are controlling the world.
Cites Black Hole speaking. That gamer G lady had a really funny joke how using AI turns you into Terrence Howard. If you don't want your brain to get eaten like that chat message did, don't use AI.
Oh god, there was a story that came out today about I think it was a Perplexity AI CEO who's like going crazy, and like the company's like putting out statements about how like they're worried about him because of like the comments he's been making on social media about his interactions with AI. Like, guys, don't start talking with these AI chatbots. They will kill you.
Mel Gibson.
Never met Mel Gibson.
That's an easy one to happen. I mean, it's a couple guys that know him could make the phone call.
Yeah, I enjoy his neurosynaptic reactions.
Meaning that
I enjoy his neuro.
Euclidean geometry is for half-wits and biatches. Also, RimWorld, me, Jack.
Paladin, it is for 5 subs/donos/memberships. Though you did drop. Didn't you drop some earlier? Maybe I'm forgetting. Beep barp. I used Perplexity to help me pick a calendar app. It kept getting the details about the apps we're on. Yeah, no, these AI things suck shit.
The way he views the
thinks,
world from a
yeah.
different lens.
I love his rhythm of his mind, how it clicks. So people like that. But most people,
I love the rhythm of his mind. I really support the way he abused his daughter.
respond, in a quizzical way. But when you're challenging their status quo, when you're challenging, their basic arithmetic, because if you were looking at a grid of 1 times 1 equaling 1, it would be a straight grid going out with just boxes on a flat plane forever. Our universe doesn't behave that way. Our universe behaves by everything wrapping itself around, multiplies volumetrically. So what I've been talking about for the longest time is allowing our math to match what the physics work. What does the physical world look like? How does it behave? We can't throw imaginary structures out there unless the real structures aren't making sense. And the structures that they have as straight lines, platonic solids, they've been wrong from the beginning because there are no straight lines. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
I wasn't going to give you these subs, but I really enjoy your synaptic landscape, Jack. Full of mental horsepower.
I'm so proud of the mental horsepower you're demonstrating right now, Paladin. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. And of course, you can be added into the game. We have 2 more spots at the moment. May I get this correct, though? I'm having a great time. Okay. All right. Paladin lost. Da-da-da-da. You're a budding artist, Paladin. Also, Nightlight Plushie, you are the tamer of the group, and you're out fishing right now. And Salmon Moose, you're building some walls. You're building that wall. Game, RimWorld.
The greater the action, the greater the reaction. The greater the reaction, greater the resistance. The greater the resistance, greater the curvature, which means everything is curved. So measuring the universe with straight lines and with flat planes is an illogical and irrational thing to do if you're measuring curved, living, moving reality. And that is what they refuse to change. They've stopped believing that the world is flat, but they're still using flat mechanics to describe the universe.
Okay, so you go on Rogan.
I love that Patrick Bet-David is no-selling this and is just like making no mention of the fact that everything that was just said was nonsense. Is this that actor? Yeah, this is the guy who played Rhodey in Iron Man, like the original Iron Man.
First podcast, you guys talk, and then that leads to you going back with Rogan, with Eric Weinstein.
Like when even Patrick Bet-David is kind of like having to stifle his faux amazement, you're in some trouble.
4-hour one that you guys did, right? And even I think Neil deGrasse Tyson did a video reacting to all the stuff that you had. Brian Keating did as well. I asked Brian Keating about the one document that you sent to me. I forwarded to him, and he read it, looked through it, and and I'll preface what he said. He's really trying to figure things out, going in the right. And he made a video talking about one area that he was wrong. I don't know if you've seen that video or not, but he seemed very much willing to sit down and have the conversation. But it almost seems like when even watching Weinstein, Eric, with you, it's like, look, we love what you're doing, and
but stop doing it.
Yeah, but stop doing it because peer review. You're not one of our peers. You're not qualified enough to get a peer review, but we'll give you an opinion on this, right? That was kind of like the establishment side towards you. What was your biggest takeaway after your 4 hours with Eric and Joe, and what's happened ever since?
Well, I gave Eric a great deal of grace. He was a little rude and cut me off a lot of times, but that's the nature of being in the position of authority. I had hoped that he would evaluate the geometry I gave him. I showed him. I went to his house 2 days later, and we had dinner, and I took buckets of proof of geometry of all the linchpins and their.
You took buckets of geometry? Why buckets? buckets. I mean, even if you're reading it as buckets of proof of geometry, why not? Why would you carry buckets of documents proving the geometry? I'm very confused. Maybe buckets are the only vessels capable of containing the true sacred geometry.
Configurations, all the wave conjugations and their configurations. The wave conjugation, so you understand, is the electric part of the world, is how plasma is the contractive part. All shapes are the expansive stuff that describes radiation's work.
You don't say.
The linchpin is the constitution between the two. It's the friend. It's the translator between the big and the little. And I took all these things to his house. I thought he would evaluate them. I thought he would send them throughout his friends. And then I watched him go on Piers Morgan and literally say that 99% of everything I said was bathwater, was bullshit. The Howard comma.
He said that afterwards?
Yeah,
or
he said
you guys
this.
Wow, I
getting
can't-
together?
He did this.
Patrick Bet David's like, wow, I can't believe he said that about you. That's really uncalled for.
After our talk on Joe Rogan, but before our meeting when I went to his house. So I let that go, him saying that 99% of everything I was doing was bathwater. And then he said, the one thing that might be good is this linchpin. But he got there by a mistake, which I
Please
clearly
use this
showed that
donation
it
to
wasn't
purchase a
mistake, the
hogshead of trigonometry.
109.47.
BWA.
Paladin, thank you for the $5 dono.
But he said that everything I did was just by accident and nothing had value. So we were able to take the Howard comma, which is the resonance created from the linchpin. We were able to take the Tetraean wave conjugations, which is the shape of the fractal in itself. And we were able to take the mirrored all shapes and literally rebuild the entire world the way that
The Howard comma, huh?
according to, well, not rebuild the world. We've been able to take those same things that he called bathwater and apply them to the three-body problem and solve a 300-year-old problem that Newton couldn't solve, that Poincare couldn't solve.
Man, it's so cool that you solved the three-body problem. Let's see that.
Because they needed a finite space.
Let's get that
they
peer-reviewed.
needed curved multiplication. They also needed to reimagine how the prime numbers behave. They needed to understand that gravity was just an effect of electricity. But how could we take the things he said was bathwater and solve the biggest problems in math and in physics when he said it had no physical application, no chemistry application, no application towards mathematics, but we solved all the biggest problems with it. And that's why I gave it to you ahead of time and asked you to run it through your AI.
Yeah, and we did that. I guess the most basic one, okay? So if I go to someone like you who's an outsider coming in the scientist world, right, the mathematics world, and you make certain claims, first question the academia is going to ask is, what is your qualification? What is your education? Where did you go to? And it seems like some of these guys came out and said, well, that school this, the school that I don't know which one it was, South Carolina or whatever it was, the school, the degree, all this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, because I went over to South Carolina University, and I took them over at the time I had a company where we were growing diamonds through not high pressure, high temperature, but through chemical vapor deposition. And the conversation I was having with them, and they were talking about giving me an honorary degree, should have been in chemistry, because that's the stuff that we were doing. We were transmuting one thing into another thing. So
you're talking about alchemy. You're saying you were doing alchemy? We were transmuting one thing into another thing. We found Nicholas Flamel's stone.
when I went on that other show and I had my honorary degree that was given to me, I had no idea it was in humanities. I thought it was going to be in the thing that I went to talk to them about.
So to them, so to say you don't have a PhD from South Carolina, it's an honorary, right? So it's not like, okay. So to the folks who went to school to see all these different theories, what do they tell you when they explain it to you? What do they say? Because right now I just went online and I typed in, which scientists agree with Terrence Howard? Okay. And mainstream scientific response, Howard's views are widely rejected by academic and scientific communities. His interpretation of math and physics are generally considered mathematically incorrect, scientifically unfounded, right? Independent and fringe thinkers, they gave some folks that are from on the YouTube side that do. Why the rejection? Claims 1 × 1 = 2. And that's the most basic one, right? Where it starts from there. And it goes to some of the other theories that you guys have spoken about. Help me understand how, in your mind, to the average person who hasn't put amount of time that you have put in, credibility after 1 × 1 × 2, 1 × 1 = 2. How do you come up with that conclusion?
Well, if I was wrong, then they wouldn't have made such a big stink about it. But
I mean, you are just wrong. I don't think anyone's making a big stink about it. It's just really funny to make that claim because it just means you don't understand multiplication.
But the fact that I was able to show them with their calculator.
If a 1 is in a group of 1, it's just 1.
That because they have 1 × 1 = 1.
Right.
An action times an action without a reaction. And as a result of it, you get this contradiction with the square root of 2 being cubed, having the same value as the square root of 2 × 2, which should say a red flag, a herring right away that there's something wrong with the mathematics, with that being the problem that leads into the distribution of prime numbers, because the number 2, any prime number, any prime number that you subtract from another prime number always is going to end up in a composite number. But except with the case of the number 2. That's the only prime number that you subtract from another prime number and you end up in a prime number. Why? Because the number 2 is a composite number. But they've changed that by trying to force that into a prime because they wanted 1 × 1 to equal 1, and the square root of 2 being 1.414. They say that times itself will equal. So it's all convoluted. None of their stuff makes sense. If I was a student, a mathematical student or a calculus student or an algebraic student, and I come in and I show a proof where okay, 1 × 1 = 1, and the proof of this is the square root of 2 having a contradiction with being cubed and multiplied by 2. That's a loop. Hi, everyone. My name is Terrence Howard. I'm an actor, but in the field of science also. So if you would like to connect with me, you can connect with me on Minect. The QR code is down.
Oh my God. They let him put an ad for his scientific course? Like, for his science advice on the Patrick David show? They literally have no standards. This is insane, dog. This is crazy. Oh my God. Oh God. OMG, I just realized that Terrence Howard happened because he basically had early access to the sycophant machines. Just that it is because he's been surrounded by yes men rather than Gen AI chatbots. It's a little bit of both, depraved ambiance. One is that, like, being surrounded by depraved yes men can absolutely warp somebody's brain. But also, he had very early access to, like, all these AI chatbot things, you know? It's his brain has been broken by technology, telling him yes at every given turn.
Down below.
It's how all of these like TikTokers who talk about like awakening the machine spirit in their phones. Like they talk to the AI nonstop all the time, and it just tells them what they want to hear. You know, it doesn't challenge their views on like, the universe is just vibes, man. And the AI chatbot is like, yes, you are totally correct. Let me provide you with at least 5 different theories about how the universe is just vibes. You know, 4 of those sources are completely made up, but the 5th is like a cult website.
Let's have a great conversation.
Okay, so then let me ask you
That's a problem.
So then what's 1.1 times 1.1?
I got verbally abused this morning because I said I'm actively poisoning AI. What? Well, one, I'm very sorry that that happened to you, and two, is that not like kind of an inevitable thing of like the current state of how AI is trained? Like, isn't AI just slowly kind of boiling itself to death along with the rest of us?
I don't know.
Is it bigger than 2?
It would have to be.
Would you say we blinded him with science? Why?
I can't do the scream.
Science.
Science rules. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Anytime action times an action has to
You're just putting kindling under that fire? Fuck yeah, Saving Moose.
increase in volume.
No, but so if 1 times 1 is 2, that would mean that 1.1 times 1.1 would need to be bigger than 2, right?
It
But
would
it's
have
not.
to be. Why wouldn't it be? It's only the mathematics that they're using, the identity.
Oh man, when even Patrick Bet-David can like outmaneuver your idea, you're in some deep shit, man.
Principles, which I call the Jim Crow laws of mathematics.
Oh my
That's the
God.
thing that holds them back because they want to keep things back into a balanced place. They want, instead of allowing the expansion that happens with most numbers.
Mathematics? Oh, you mean Jim Crow laws of science? Damn, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God.
They just want to repeat. They just want to get back to a
Even for a
repeat.
basic, simple guy like me, like let's just say if I have
Even for a moron like me, I'm having some trouble here.
$1.10 in a stock, okay, and that goes up 1.1%. What is it? $1.10 in a stock, but it goes up 1.1% rate of return. In my stock portfolio, what's 1.1 of $1.10?
Look it up on the calculator.
It's $1.21. So for example, so if I get a 1% rate of return, on one, if I do the percentage on the basic 1.1 times 1.1, it's still getting me 1.21. So to me, the basics of the 1 times 1 equals 2, that throws even a regular guy like me off.
Well, you've got to remember, in multiplying volumetrically, you're wrapping things back around.
Right.
Like in a pool, in a swimming pool, the ripples go out, hit the edge, and then they come back.
Yeah, you have to multiply volumetrically. Duh. The doy, everybody.
The returning waves are added to the expanding waves. Each returning wave is going to become multiplied even more. The pressure doesn't just expand out and keep going out, it's coming back. So you have to include the contraction. You have to include the returning wave. So that's why the volumetric would be different. But like even with what you just did, like if I asked you, what's 0.10 times 0.10? 0 times 0.10 says 0.001, right?
Right.
But we know that 0.10 is a dime.
Okay.
We know that a dime times a dime, 10 dimes times 10 dimes equals $1. Should equal $1.
Not necessarily.
10 times 10.
No, I know what you're doing. But that is a whole number. A dime is still 10 cents. So 10 dimes is $1. So it's not the same in the dollar sense. I see what you're thinking, like 0.1 equals.
Oh God, it's just so painful to see Patrick Bet-David be like, if I have 10 dimes, I have $1, and Terrence Howard just completely disagreeing with him point blank. Holy fuck.
A tenth of $1.
I'm saying there's a problem with the decimal system.
Yeah, but if a dime is 0.1 of $1, let's simplify it, right? But if you tell me, give me 10 of 0.1s, that equals 1. So that means I got 10 dimes. But if you do 0.1 times 0.1, then you get 0.01, right?
0.01.
Yeah, but that's a difference. So to me, the basics of the math, when you went there one
that
time.
doesn't go off to you? That doesn't seem off? That if we turn it into physical things, that's what I'm saying. Let's turn it.
Oh my God. If you have one thing times one thing, it's just one thing, man. It's one category of one thing. Come on, man. Come on, bro, please. I'm begging you.
The problem with our math is they've allowed it to be all imaginary. It does not have any physical resemblance. It's all fiat, where it should be.
That's because math is abstract. It's a method of abstract thinking, man. Come on, please, bro.
No, but I just do
Measuring
investment.
reality.
The way I look at it is to say, what's point
If nothing else,
1%
it brightens my day to know
of-
PBD lives in a hell of his own making.
PBD does lives in a hell of his own making, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that for him. Ivory Valentine, thank you for the $5 dono.
You know, a penny.
Have any of you thought that thinking abstractly is gay, and we should all do it?
What's 0.1% of a penny?
What's the value of a penny?
What's
Oh my God.
0.1% of a dime? It's a penny, right? It gets smaller, right? So that's I don't look at it from the physics.
Wait a
I
minute.
look at it-
10% of a dime would be a penny.
That's right.
10%.
So 0.1 is 10%, right? So if you go to the investment side, the argument of one-time ones in investment, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, insurance, it stops right there. But you're going out there and saying 1 times 1 equals 2, and you know that
We're saying that since our economics are still based on this linear flat plane geometry,
right.
You can still use the 1 times 1 equaling 1 to perform their economic growth
Mm-hmm.
and their economic
my God.
reactions. But if you're dealing with universal interactions,
Mm-hmm.
you have to. Our money may go out linearly and we may measure it on a flat plane, but as far as the universe behaving, how energy behaves, energy curves and wraps back around itself. Energy doesn't follow a linear path. And all of the stuff we're talking about in physics.
That's not what energy does. That's not how that works, man.
And science is about energy. We're not talking about a fiat system where they can have arbitrary rules for the money, that anything can happen with the numbers. Something times nothing can equal nothing and violate conservation of energies if you're saying 1 times 0, or you can divide.
What drug is he on? Nah, just AI and yes men broke his brain. That's it. Full stop. He's not on any drugs.
To multiply by 0, but if you divide by 0, it creates an infinity, and division is supposed to be the inverse operation of multiplication. So what you're supposed to be able to do multiplying, you're able to reverse that with division. So if you cannot divide by 0, then you cannot multiply by 0. All of their rules that they break so that their economic.
You can multiply by 0 because you're asking if you have 0 categories of insert number, how many do you have? 0. Come on, man. Come on. Oh God.
Pathway can remain consistent. You want to do that. But if you're talking about saving our planet, you're talking about how the universe behaves and how the energy of the ether behaves, then there's.
Oh boy, we're talking about the ether. Are we going to talk about quintessence? Oh man, please, I'm begging you, Terrence Howard, please start talking about quintessence. Please, I need this. I need this. I need this so bad. Okay? I need this so fucking bad. All right?
Very specific associations to the numbers. Each number is alive. Each number has value. It's not imaginary. It's not intangible. It is going to have an effect. So we have to multiply it according to how the universe does it.
Okay, so Okay, so I look at it more from the investment side, the math side, the financial side, but that's your theory. And by the way, Terrence, the reason why I think it's folks like you are important, very important, because anybody that challenges the status quo, that puts the establishment against the wall to kind of have to prove themselves, I love it. I think Bobby Kennedy did that, and Bobby Kennedy wasn't a scientist. He was a lawyer. And Bobby Kennedy got a lot of people in the health industry to be like, wait a minute, are we supposed to believe 100% of what Fauci is saying? We're not supposed to sit there and believe everything Fauci is saying. And he's not a health guy. So the credibility from the health institution was like, I'm a scientist, I'm Fauci, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Bobby doesn't know what he's talking about. So I would like to see something happen here where we're seeing a lens. This is why I suggested for you and your wife to watch the what was it?
Yes. The Stephen
Greer documentary about
the lost century.
Yeah, the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. So let's go through that. Do you mind just taking a moment and share? You have a certain number of patents. I don't know what the number is.
Oh my God, he has
30-something patents.
No, it's right now we have over 90-something separate patents. We have 30 different trademarks and copyrights, but most of the stuff are hard patents.
And the patents, are they all in the States? Or
all in the States. Well, I've got them worldwide. You started filing them here, but a lot of them are redundant patents in other countries.
What is this, Rob?
That's just how many, according to
94.
ChatGPT.
Okay, according to 94 patents with 60. Okay, perfect. So you got 94 patents. What new findings? What have you found where the average person can benefit from? And if you're sitting there, you said this is worth in the trillions of dollars, and you and I are speaking before, you're like, if another country gets their hands on this,
it's an end of America.
What have you found?
Well, we've been able to innovate. The first thing that everybody already knows about is the tangential flight with linchpin. We have
everyone already knows
tangential
that.
flight, the ability to fly around your own center of mass, and unlimited midair bonding. I mean, it's the end of cranes for the linchpin, because no matter how large the project is or how small it is, linchpins can modulate and cover over air, over land, over sea.
Oh my God! They're feeding what he's saying into ChatGPT. Tangential flight, a term often used by Terrence Howard, is not a standard concept in aerospace or physics. It's part of the unconventional framework he presents through his linchpin theory and related inventions. Based on Howard's explanation, tangential flight refers to a proposed method of flight that mimics natural fractal patterns and universal geometries. So again, notice how ChatGPT isn't actually like challenging any of this. It's just like, this is what he's saying. This is the bullshit that he's saying, and this is how maybe kind of it might work. I'm not going to challenge it in any way because I'm a sycophantic machine.
You have flight vehicles that deal with, that are able to deal with the air or deal with space or deal with water. You have cars for the land, but you don't have anything that is ubiquitous to all of these mediums. And that's what linchpin is able to do. So when I say it's the end of cranes, so you have that. We've innovated flight. We've innovated geometry by having unlimited bonding. We've innovated lighting. We've innovated with our energy systems. And what I wanted to share with you, one of the biggest things that I talked about with the Howard comma, its ability to pull energy directly from the van der Waals or from the 0 point. We've already provided a means to do that, to where you don't have to pay for any energy anymore. The same thing when I talked about beryllium, utilizing beryllium, even though there was some idiot chemists that came out and said that what I said concerning beryllium was wrong. But I dare them to compare beryllium or beryllium's reaction to oxygen the same way that magnesium behaves with sulfur, the same way that selenium behaves with magnesium, sulfur, selenium behaves with, God, I just lost my thought.
Selenium?
Yeah, no, because...
Can you pull it up?
Magnesium, you have...
Can you pull up the charts, Rob?
Yeah, really quick. The way that selenium.
Yeah, if you can just pull up the periodic table and zoom in.
Selenium's relationship with calcium.
Okay.
The same relationship the same way that selenium will mitigate what's taking place inside of calcium, the same way that sulfur will mitigate.
What are the comments even like on this? Like, what? I'm thoroughly loving this conversation. It took a NASA scientist of Chinese origin to understand and offer Terrence the respect and humanity he deserves. Holy shit. Okay, this one finally makes a little bit of sense. As a scientist myself, I want to emphasize, just in case you were wondering, that Terrence Howard is not scientifically rigorous in any way. He essentially speaks gibberish infused with a bit of grammar. Absolutely tragic to see this being platformed. You know, it's nice that there's at least one sane person who clicked on this video besides, well, I was going to say besides us, but...
What's taking place with the magnesium. Oxygen, being the equal and opposite mate of beryllium, will mitigate what's taking place with beryllium. And they will always have a strong attraction to each other. So whatever bullshit that was being spoken by those chemists, they do not know what they're talking about. And the problem with utilizing actual beryllium is it oxidates. So immediately the surface of it gets covered, and so the reaction stops. But if you use the frequency of beryllium to separate the oxygen from the hydrogen and have small little apertures for the hydrogen to go through, because the hydrogen is a smaller waveform, then the oxygen will separate and the hydrogen will separate.
That is not how any of this works. I know that might seem like that's how maybe something works if you, like, I don't know, just got smacked on the head by a hammer, but like, that is not how chemistry works.
And they'll both be usable. We proved that. Science has proven that. Natural phenomenon has proven that. But they want to ignore that.
Establishment scientists has proven that?
They see it in all of their reactions. That's why they're using a lot of the chemists in a number of the interactions that they have. They'll use beryllium for a particular purpose because it will cause oxidation. And then they have a means by which to reverse that polarization, pushes, you know, whatever was oxidated onto it, and now it opens up the door again for the beryllium to work. There's a number of means for it. They've seen it work, but because it is in opposition to the oil and industry world, they're fighting it. And so I brought the proof. I brought the simple proof when I provided for you guys. I've on my website on Terry's Linchpin, there's the white paper on how beryllium behaves and how oxygen behaves.
Who's broken that white paper down?
It's just gone up to my thing. I can't get anyone to do a peer review. I've sent it off to publishers. Publishers refuse to review it because Eric Weinstein, Brian Keaton, people came out, said the Dunning-Kruger effect. The amount of pain and suppression that's come my way because all I've tried to do is provide the proof out there. Nobody wants it.
Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias where people, Rob, it just completely disappeared on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dunning-Kruger effect is an effect where, darn, it just disappeared off the screen. I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is.
People with low competence specific area tend to
Oh man, it would have been so much funnier if they had just kept moving on.
overestimate their abilities, while highly competent individuals may underestimate their skills. This occurs when a lack of metacognition prevents those with low competence. So they're saying you're low competent in this topic. That's what they're saying.
In this topic. This is what Neil deGrasse came out and said. And so now he owes me an apology. Why? Because with those same things that he said had no value, now we've already put them into a white paper, and we've been able to solve the seven millennial problems and the three body problems with the same equations or substances that he said created the Dunning-Kruger effect.
So everything you sent me, everything of the white papers you sent
all
us,
those papers.
all of them, every one of these I have, right? Every one of these was sent to Dr.
Yu.
Dr. Yu has it. He's looked at him. So he'll come out here in a minute to give his perspective on this, and he's from NASA. But before we go there, there is a part of me that believes, you know, there are inventions that the government didn't want to bring out because, God forbid, if they did, it would decimate multi-trillion-dollar industries, oil being one of them. I fully believe that.
It needs to go.
Huh?
It needs to go.
It needs to go. But, you know, who's going to release it? I don't know. I mean, look how long it took to find out who killed JFK.
Yeah.
Look how long it took with Epstein and some of these lists that we are looking. Who did what?
Paladin, just as an FYI, apparently you're the leader. Like your character in RimWorld got decided on as like the guy who gets to name our settlement. What is the name of our settlement? I replaced my metacognition with AI and I'm fine. God. Holy shit. I thought that was the Dunning-Kruger effect. Oh god. Hey Cam Stas. Yo, you been watching the last 10 streams? Hell yeah.
To MLK, they're still hiding it, right? So for them to release it. When it comes down to Musk, what is your opinion on Elon and, you know, him being a net positive to
Next
society?
donation
Do you have an
can name
opinion
the
on
settlement?
Well,
okay.
I think Elon is a...
Next person to drop a sub or a dono with a message gets to name the settlement. Let's go. Donna Cougar. Auntie Donna Cougar. I've been listening along without much to say because, wow, this interview is really something, huh? It really, really is, right? God. Bastion, you're a fixture in this community.
Genius in his entire approach to dealing with society, first and foremost. And he's proven himself to be very capable as far as finding out where a problem lies and then attacking that problem and bringing the right people to it. I think he would have been very benefited. I was surprised when I didn't get anything from him after I did the Joe Rogan and showed the
Fuckville with an uck. Okay.
linchpin because of what he's trying to do.
Thanks,
in
Nomi
space.
Sunrider.
One of his problems, though, that I see affecting him is he believes in the vacuum.
It's Fuckville.
He believes in the finite, infinite universe. You know.
Bill Boneless, thank you for the raid. Welcome, folks. We're learning about the metacognition of Terrence Howard's scientific ideology. And it is pure nonsense. Let's go. Welcome, folks. Hope you have a good time here. We're also playing some RimWorld. And pausing from time to time to marvel at these ideas. I love his math theories. It's genuinely wild. In the aftermath of this episode, he promised to post online his equations that prove infinite energy. And I, you know, this was 3 months ago. I haven't heard anything about the infinite energy equations.
Where there's no pressure changes between the planets, that there's just this great vacuum there, and doesn't recognize that this is just like being underwater. You know, where we are at the surface of the water is like the Goldilocks zone. This is the Goldilocks zone on our planet. Well, within the solar system, there's the Goldilocks zone where the Earth sits, and this fits for us. You go out 147 million miles
all
away
good,
from
Ivory
the sun,
Valentine.
where Mars is. The nitrogen is expanded to such an extent, the hydrogen has expanded to such
hell
an extent,
yeah.
there's
Let us know
no
how your
way to
DSA meeting
contain
goes.
that into the body, the flesh of the body, which is necessary
What are
in
you
order for us to
talking
keep
about,
living.
man?
Oxygen, everything expands. You'll never be able to bring them back, these 147 million miles back to where the Earth is. You're not going to be able to do that. Well, the 93 million miles where the Earth is. So anyone that goes out there, that's a wrap for them. Because 15 feet underwater, what happens to the nitrogen? It compresses, or 15 feet out of the water, it expands, and it keeps expanding. So anyone that tries to go out to where Mars is at that low pressure system where
oxygen expands. I think what he's trying to say is that in his cosmology, gravity doesn't work the same, and so gas just kind of extends out through the emptiness of space, and so it's not a true vacuum in that sense. And so it's just differences in pressure, which is just absolutely not backed up by anything we can observe whatsoever.
everything becomes mono or diatomic, everything is expanding itself out, you are dead. There's no way, the spaceship would have to be so tight, or the suit would have to be so tight that you would not have any motion. But the amount of expansion will not allow you to be able to come back to the Earth. Like if you took something from the bottom of the ocean and you bring it all the way up to the top, and then you try and take it back to the bottom of the ocean, what happens to it? It implodes at the change of pressure. We're made for this particular pressure condition at 93 million miles away. You're not going to be able to have a human being on Mars, plain and simple. We don't have the proper pressure conditioned
You don't think
bodies. So? No, it's impossible. You're just going to expand out and blow up. You will blow up.
Well, this kind of doesn't this kind of contradict though? Because on one end, you're saying it's possible to have 0-point energy where oil industry and all this other stuff, and the industry is saying, you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're talking about. There's no way, and then, here's what Lynchman, this is what we could do. Elon is saying, I want to go have, life on Mars or on another planet. And you're saying there's no way that's possible.
No, there's life on Mars.
Oh, no. Loquification. He doesn't think that gravity is not real. He just has his own theory of gravity.
But the life has changed. The life force changes. The system of water, H2O, changes as you go further out. Two atoms of hydrogen, one atom of oxygen. I guess the further out you go, what happens to the next one? Does it become 2 atoms of carbon and then 1 atom of sulfur? It all continues out. The water life principle remains consistent. That's why in Uranus or those far out planets, they still have precipitation as rain, but now it's methane that's coming down. And it's just the water or the H2O, like what I was saying on Joe, was that the relationship between carbon and hydrogen are the same as the relationship between carbon and silicon, and the same between silicon and between cobalt. It's the same tone. It's just under a different pressure condition. So you can manipulate the entire universe by changing the motion and pressure conditions because it's all waves. It's not a physical thing. So as far as our bodies are concerned, if you wrapped an entire ship in molecular excitation and changed to where they are no longer part of the system, now you can be out there. But using our traditional methods, you cannot do
so
that.
So it's kind of like
to
Dragon
wrap
Ball
it
Z.
in frequency.
How much have you followed what he says on how he's planning on doing that?
He's just trying to get the people out there. And I think what they want to do is mine that asteroid belt. That's what they really want to do. And that's what
You think the purpose is mining?
Is mining the asteroid belt. There's one asteroid out there called Psyche that's worth $10 quadrillion worth of tungsten and tantalum and rare earth metals inside of there. That's just in one. So their ability to...
Is that this one?
Psyche, yep. So the ability to mine these asteroid belts, gets rid of all the mining on the planet. They want to get to Mars so that they can do some mining, but they don't realize that we don't need any of that stuff anymore.
Why not?
Because what the linchpin brings, by the resonant quality of the linchpin, the Howard comma, what that allows you to do is now have the universal template to put into any situation and open up. That's why it's used for faster than light communication, subspace communication, all the things that we've now put in the paper that I couldn't do before. When I first went to Eric and everyone, I was like, well, I'm shy in the mathematics, but I have the geometry, I have the patterns and all this. So what Eric Weinstein gave me was a book on differential equations and gauge theory. Well, what I was able to do with that, now I understand the math enough, and using AI as a guide, you can plug into it and give it the information.
See what I mean? See what I mean? This guy's brain was fucking cooked by AI, guys. Again, this is this AI madness. Like he talked to an AI chatbot, guarantee you, and it just cooked his entire goddamn brain, convinced him to quit acting, convinced him that he's a scientist. It's nuts.
Necessary, because I'm sure the very first time that they started the quantum computer or the supercomputer, the very first thing they tried to do was solve the three-body problem, but it couldn't solve it. And they tried to solve the 7 millennial problems, but they couldn't solve it with those computers. But we've been able to solve it by changing the paradigm, by changing to curve multiplication, by using a finite space, by redistributing the prime numbers, and by utilizing the actual curvature of the universe. We've been able to fix all of those problems.
Okay, so let's stay on that, because just yesterday we're having a very innocent conversation. Here's what the conversation was. Conversation is, one of our guys says, oh my God, this is crazy. I mean, I don't know if Terrence knows what he's talking about and all this other stuff. I won't give his name because, he's out there. And so another guy says, I don't know, man. I think some of the stuff he says, so how do you think the pyramid was built? What do you mean? How do you think those big rocks, where you think it was just, big slaves picking it up and put, I think so. You think men put that up? You don't think they didn't have access to something back in the days? And how come we've not had? So he started kind of going through this. So then you see the debate, right? Your opinion. How was the pyramid built based on what you know?
What?
Well, there's a number of different conflicting ideas on it, but I just saw something very recently on Lost History, where they were showing that the bubbles inside of the granite or inside of a lot of the material there, they have these little bubbles that come as a composite. That it was not big blocks of granite that was necessarily brought up there, that they were actually mixing all of this stuff together. There's that approach. But then the idea of using resonance, something that we've always been able to use, you can, the same way you're able to blow on a sheet of paper or hum and see something vibrate, that's something float. That's something that's always been used. And the amount of songs, like if you think about the walls of Jericho, and they went around it 7 times, singing, hitting a particular tone, and using harmonic or sympathetic harmonies to either break or to bring things together. There's a number of ways of using frequency. That's how I think all of that stuff was built. I think it was done using harmonic resonance.
Interesting.
Interesting. Citing the walls of Jericho. Yeah, guys. Literally, he's like, yeah, the Egyptians got together and sang the songs of friendship, and it built the pyramids. All I feel is pain. If only we had learned the music of the Egyptians.
Okay, so can we get Dr. Yu out here, Rob, if you don't mind?
Can we bring an
here?
actual scientist out here?
Dr. Yu, if you're back there, please
come to the table.
His energy is unbelievable.
I know.
This is a less than 1 minute demonstration of a single dude moving large stones with basic machines. Sure, why not? Were the pyramids sung into being, or did they maybe just use machines? My question is, what was bro making? Was he just doing this to prove a point, or was he like was he doing this specifically to show like how the pyramids could be made, or was he building his own thing? What secret contraption was he building out in the wilderness? But you see, you can hear the music he's playing to enable him to move these things. The harmonic frequency, you can hear it. It's a low thrum. See? That's what Terrence Howard would say. The high squeaking sound was the frequency needed to construct the pyramid.
You are right here, sir.
Look at him.
Okay. Great to have you. We met earlier. Pleasure having you on. So, Dr. Yu, if you don't mind, I have your business card here, okay? If you can take a moment, here it tells me Wei-Ping Yu, PhD, physicist, supercraft subsystem manager, spacecraft fluids, and structures branch. If you don't mind taking a moment and introducing your background, your experience, what you've worked on.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me on. And it's great.
Hold on. Terrence wants to fix the...
He's a perfectionist.
Yes,
I hate ties that are, I love tie being right. There.
Yes, my name is Wei-Ping Yu. I'm currently was employed by federal government, NASA.
Okay.
So I'm the physics based on the training. I have a PhD in engineering physics, and I have did a lot of fundamental research. And so when I'm the founder of called the Yuan theory of everything, try to bring the bridges between relativity and the quantum mechanics, and try to find out the unified theory of everything, just like linchpin theory, right? And
have you guys ever met before?
No.
This is the first time. This is very important for the audience to know. You guys have never met.
Never met.
And you're currently working for NASA.
That's correct. Okay. I'm currently working for NASA. But let me make a disclaimer, if you can. So all the views and the opinions expressed here represent purely on my own and does not reflect any of those of my employer, NASA.
Fantastic. And I appreciate you saying that. So you know Eric Weinstein. Have you guys spoken before? Have you guys met before?
Yes, Eric Weinstein called me. So we were talking about on the phone for about 15, 20 minutes while I was traveling in California.
Okay. And did you have a chance to watch the exchange with, Terrence and Eric Weinstein on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yes, briefly.
Okay.
It's a very interesting exchange. Yes.
Okay. So we have a document here. I think it's even this is that was sent by you, right, to us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was your impression from you hearing the exchange between Eric and what Terrence was discussing? Was there anything where you said there's some credibility to what Terrence is saying here? I don't know if I agree with him, because you would be to the marketplace. You're part of the establishment, scientists. You've gone through the school and you've gone a different route than he has. What was your impression of the exchange between the two?
I know one of the focuses on the statement, Terrence made by 1 times 1 equals 2.
Yes.
And I believe a lot of focus on this statement. In my view, of course, on my conventional view, I would disagree with your statement. However, I notice, the definition of 1 times multiply 1 is different between traditional class than in Terrence's talking. He's bring another dimension. Okay, bring another dimension.
That's such a fucking charitable way of describing what Terrence Howard is talking about.
Three-dimensional or some kind of things into this one. So I believe the difference is probably the definition and the model in our own mind, the difference. I do not believe fundamentally some kind of difference. If we have more time to discuss the detail, but not on the setting.
Yeah, no, and what I'm doing I'm contrasting the linear projection and attempt to multiply linearly, just repeating, in comparison to multiplying volumetrically. So you're right in adding dimensions. And these necessary dimensions are dimensions that you exist in. Nothing exists in a two-dimensional space. Even a three-dimension, like you talk about one dimension, two dimensions, those things are not, you cannot measure them until it has height, width, and depth. So it all becomes basically imaginary as far as the real world goes until it has at least the three dimensions of height, width, and depth. And then it needs your fourth perspective in order to be able to measure it. So when they're talking about one and two dimensional things, I'm just looking at, okay, another imaginary thing, because it has to be in motion. It has to have width. It has to have depth in order for us to be able to consider it. But they consider two-dimensional space, or our mathematics, is all based on reductionary attempts to reduce things, living things, down to dead things.
Doctor, you read the white paper. You read all the papers here that he sent, right? We sent you yesterday.
I don't know.
I don't.
hope you throw them into the AI, because I'm like, this is a lot of stuff.
Did you have a chance to look through some of it?
Yes.
Okay. What's your impression of what Terrence is saying here, and how much credibility is there behind it?
Oh, okay. So I would say, I'm not talking about the credibility. I do not believe one's credibility based on the education and how many degrees or how many years, even years of working in the field. I believe this intelligence could come out instant. Like Terrence mentioned, from the gift of divine, is that right? Yeah. Something, and instantly. Like me working in physics field for decades, I just got to recognize there's something fundamental wrong, which something happened. You know, in Terrence's interview, he mentioned about something fundamental wrong with quantum physics, which I actually agree with.
What's that?
Let me first talk about the first thing.
I feel like this guy is trying to present, like, in a very charitable and nice way, where he's like, this guy's really crazy, but he did touch on something that we can actually talk about that's based in reality, which, like, is only going to confirm to people like Terrence Howard that they're 100% correct.
The first thing, talking about the fundamental wrong, this is a secret to current physical community, is something we got wrong by we made electron model wrong. This is electron is elementary particles. In physics, is found that elementary particle cannot be subdivided, do not have another detailed structure or something. And if we get this wrong, and what happens next? So if we get the electron wrong, I will explain why we get it wrong, if you have the time.
Yeah, I can help with that too.
And then if we get the electron wrong, we get called the planetary atomic model. You know, the model with similar model is planetary with orbiting free electrons. We get this model wrong. So what I find is there is no free orbiting electrons around the nucleus at near the speed of light forever, constantly. That's completely wrong. So what's the implication of this one? So first, we got the electron wrong, and then we got the model wrong. What happens if this atomic model have no orbiting electrons, no free, called with the principal orbit? Entire quantum mechanics built on this model
is wrong.
Were completely of the water.
Because their foundation on the electron, their view of the electron, they saw it as a particle, as an individual thing, when it's an entire cloud. It's an energy, it's a wave of energy. That's what the electron is. It's the discharge coming from accumulated electrical potential. The discharged electricity, the devitalized electricity, is what we're calling this electron or this magnetism, and they're seeing it as a particle when it's just a waveform. It's a pressure condition. It's a resonant thing that can be manipulated by other frequencies. That you don't need actual force, but you can create the conditions to change and affect a waveform.
What are you going to show something? You brought some props.
I'm going to expand my statement, say why we get the electron and why it's so significant.
Okay.
So from, I believe from the 1785, the French physicist Coulomb, proposed the Coulomb's law. It says there are two types of charges. One is negative, one is positive.
Mm-hmm.
And the like charge repel, unlike charge attract. This is a fundamental law. It's a great discovery. However,
it's wrong.
The mistake, is he described the two charges carried by two separate particles.
Instead of having everything being both positive, having both attractive and detractive things, it's a dipole. It's not a monopole. And the way they're seeing it, how can something? This is something that always got me. How can you can say something is charged, positively charged? How can it be negatively charged? How can you negatively charge something? A negative charge is a discharge. Means that it's coming out of it in comparison to attracting into it. So their entire terms of a negatively charged particle is wrong. It's a discharging particle.
Can let me strengthen your idea?
Yes, I'm sorry.
This is a brilliant.
Yeah, no. Curly Dorothy, yeah, this guy is basically trying to say science has been wrong sometimes. Like you can in fact find holes in modern physics, and there are common misconceptions about different fundamental aspects, especially around issues like quantum mechanics. But, dog, you do not need to give him the benefit of the doubt here.
A discovery and the root cause of our physics. So now people would say, how do you know how can we get the electron wrong? Entire modern technology is built on electrons, right? So that's why all the interpretations are needed to be rewritten. So let's assuming electron is negative charged and proton is a positive charge. Now, what happens if we split electron into two halves? Hypothetical.
But he's a NASA scientist. He has to be legit. Jack Parsons was a rocket engineer who used black magic to attack L. Ron Hubbard's yacht.
They come together and make
Can we?
I don't know. I do like that they had a wizard fight. I do like that.
Put the two negative charges particle together?
No.
I think this guy's just being too nice. That's my issue here. This guy's being too nice. And assuming too much, he's assuming too much of Terrence Howard, okay?
Negative things are always going to push each other away. They're always going to push each other away.
Violate Coulomb's law. So it cannot exist in this universe, or if there's other universe.
It cannot.
Ever.
And think about Kirchhoff's law regarding the black body. Now, this is where Planck, if you could look up Kirchhoff, this is where the Planck model came from. Max Planck was working off of his model, and part of the radiation from Kirchhoff's law was that a black body, it's always going to radiate into these individual cavities, and these cavities are not going to be dependent on the temperature of the walls. They're going to be dependent upon the temperature of what came in there. That was all wrong. Kirchhoff's entire law is wrong, and that's what Planck was based off of. But you look at the Planck model and think about it. It talks about if you want to do a Planck charge and all of these things, you have to use You have to use gravity. Gravity is included in there, and the speed of light is included in there. But gravity at the Planck charge, at the Planck point, is not supposed to be in effect. It's not supposed to, when you get down to the quantum area, gravity is not something that's able to affect those small areas. So why is gravity?
Well, that's not true. Like, gravity is still having some kind of an effect, but we don't know how to reconcile that with, like, the general theory of, gravity on, like, the macro sense. We understand how it works on the macro sense pretty well. We have a pretty good idea of how it works on the quantum sense. We have no idea how those two models, like, coexist together. We're still trying to figure that out.
Gravity, part of Planck's constant, or the speed of light, which we know changes constantly depending upon the medium that it's going in there. So having the speed of light as a constant, having gravity as a constant in Planck's charge lets you know that this is the Planck's charge, that Planck's entire Planck number is false, because they've changed the speed of light. Now they've attached it to another thing in order, instead of, so that the speed of light doesn't fluctuate, they've attached it to the measurement itself. So it's always going to be the measurement. That's wrong. That's fudgery. Rupert Sheldrake talked about that, about morphisms with the speed of light.
Why hasn't he tried singing the answer into existence? Why have we abandoned the old ways that the Egyptians knew so well?
Light being fudged and changed. So all of their principles are seemingly fudged.
Who has questioned this over the years? Like what scientists?
Dirac, Feynman, all of them questioned it. That's why they were like, all of this new renormalization makes this stuff.
Dirac? Is he talking about, like, the Drake equation? Oh, Dirac. Gotcha.
Bad.
So now you are running at the speed of light. Okay, I'm gonna just try to bring the audience on. So if we say it's wrong, very easy to say. What is right? What is really, we talk about the electron, really what it is? He mentioned about it. So if we cannot have a single charge particle, what happens? The so-called electron, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Are carried both positive and negative charge as one particle. Now I want to question the audience. What kind of particle in this world? I know everybody since 3 years old, you know this term. What carry both of charge? Do you have a guess?
Hydrogen. Everything.
Oh, you are talking about, in chemical terms.
Sorry.
I'm talking about in terms of what type of a particle. Now.
Dude's talking about quantum mechanics. He's not talking about hydrogen.
Magnets.
Yes.
Magnets is the one, it carries both negative and positive.
Why is all of this happening in front of safety deposit boxes? Because the Patrick Bet-David show is recorded in a bank vault.
Positive charges. And I will explain this.
Or at least it was, and then they moved the set, but they maintained the set being of bank vault. It's a whole thing.
Some misconception about the charge and the magnetism. But so